What is Flutter Inspector? Flutter Inspector is a powerful tool built directly into the Flutter suites that contains a lot of tools that are great for our focus and for our goal. First of all, with Flutter Inspector, we can identify unnecessary widget rebuilds. That is crucial in our works and in our goal. And efficient state management allows us to separate as possible as we can the business logic from the UI. After that, in Flutter Inspector, we can check the widget tree. How we can see here, we can find bad approach and good approach, but the most important thing is that we have to create atomic widgets and reusable widgets. So don't create a widget for every text widget that you have in your apps, but one only text widget that you can use everywhere in your project. Hi everyone, and welcome to my speech. This is a speech on mastering mobile app sustainability with a quick guide on code responsibly. First of all, a presentation of myself. I'm Matteo. I'm a Flutter developer in entity data. And for sure, I'm not Greta Thunberg. I'm not here to tell you to buy electric car or stuff like that, but I'm here to show you some tricks and tips to create more sustainable apps. So, why we are still here? Just to suffer? Yes, because it's 5 p.m. and everyone is thinking about his aperitif, but I promise to be fast. So, we are here in the real stuff to think about our environment and to create more sustainable app in our world. I understand that our development world, it's not green at all. We work on devices, even attached to the AC. We pass almost of our time in meetings, and it's not responsible. But we can find something to do to create more sustainable apps. This is the agenda for today. I split the agenda in this way, thinking about code developing. After that, commit, push, and deploy our apps to testers and then to the stores, the final step. Let's start with the development, with Flutter Inspector. What is Flutter Inspector? Flutter Inspector is a powerful tool built directly into the Flutter suites that contains a lot of tools that are great for our focus and for our goal. First of all, with Flutter Inspector, we can identify unnecessary widget rebuilds. That is crucial in our works and in our goal. Why? Because we can avoid lagging interfaces, so happier user, but also for avoid excessive battery usage and CPU consumption. And this is important and crucial for a green-oriented project. How can we do that? And how can we test it? We can check it with the repaint repo. If someone use it, understand these things. When a widget rebuilds, it starts flashing with lights, so it's not a good thing. So how can we avoid it? First of all, with an efficient state management. An efficient state management allows us to separate as possible as we can the business logic from the UI. That is great because we can test the business logic and we can avoid to rebuild widgets. Also for the block builder, I'm using block or qubit for example, but you can use every state management that you want. This allows us to rebuild only widget that needs to rebuild. And last but not least, we can create events and states minimally. Here you can find a QR code for a great speech from Majid Ajan in Flutter Heroes 2022 about the perfect state management for you and for your project. After that, in Flutter Inspector, we can check the widget tree. How we can see here, we can find bad approach and good approach, but the most important thing is that we have to create atomic widgets and reusable widgets. So don't create a widget for every text widget that you have in your apps, but one only text widget that you can use everywhere in your project. We can create a better widget tree, avoid over nesting. use const that allow us to avoid unnecessary rebuilds, the dot builder function for list view or grid view that allow us to recycle the view in list items or grid items, and last but not least, using the visibility widget instead the if or else for show or not some widgets. Last tool that I want to show you is the profiling and energy use. I understand that the first 4 items that are frame rendering times, CPU profiling, memory allocation, and GPU profiling are not readable at all. But if you follow the step before, you don't need to follow these 4 items. But I want to focus on the network profiler. This is the best thing in our Flutter inspector because our app are full of API requests. Now I'm showing you some pros and cons based on my experience and my colleagues' experience on doing and follow these steps. We can improve battery life by 10-25% and lower CPU usage by 20-40%. This is not for our machine or our device, but for user's device. On the cons, we increase the initial development time by 15-30% and also the impact learning curve of new developers. But in a consultant way of thinking, if every project has the same architecture and the same state management, these cons will decrease every time. We can now pass to the second point of the development. It's the network request. When I think about network request, I think about cache. We have to do like Barney and not like Bo. This is why caching data is crucial for us to avoid useless retrieving data and also avoiding filling the bandwidth. But how can we do that? We can do that with some plugins, for example, Flutter Cache Manager or some others plugin, but I prefer to do it by my own. I understand that it's not the best way to do it. Maybe the plugin is better, but I prefer to do it because I can select every API that I want to cache and select the caching time. Another important things on network request is lazy loading data. There are some back-end developers, full-stack developers. Okay, we need you because we can't paginate without you. So, if in a list of items we have to retrieve thousands of items, it's a problem. First of all, because we are fill the bandwidth with useless items. Thinking about a bank project, every user wants to see first 10, 20 transactions, not the 1,000. So if we paginate it, we avoid to cache a lot of useless items. We create better users because they see their first transaction faster, and we allow a better caching, avoid to cache hundreds or thousands of items. Another important things on Flutter development and development in general, it's the async await. This is great because we avoid useless time waiting. For example, if you have a section where there are 3 APIs that last 1 second each one, if you wait for both 3 in a waterfall way, you have to wait 3 seconds, your user is not happy, and your user's device are used for 3 seconds, more than if you async await and they do it in a synchronous way. So for example, 3 API requests become 1 second waiting, that is 2 seconds less device usage. I know that 2 seconds, it's not too much, but every time you use your app, if your user have to wait 2 seconds less, in a long project or in an app installed for a long time, it's a lot. Last, about request, network request, there are images. Images for sure are not APIs, I know it, but sometimes are bigger than data. So you have to cache it. And how to do it? In Flutter project, you can do it with a great, for me, plugin that it's a cache network image that allow you to cache the image, and not only, you can also add headers for authorized image. For Android developers, I don't know if there is some Android developer. Okay, great. You can use coil that is pretty similar to cache network image. So, pro and cons about the network tricks. We can reduce data transfer by 20–60%. That's because our apps, as I said previously, are full of data and full of API requests. And you can also lower server load and cost by 20–30%. I'm from Genoa, I'm master and commander on savings, so lower costs, it's great for me. On cons, you increase code complexity if you create the cache by your own. But I understand it, you can avoid these cons using a plugin. Now, I want to talk about unit test. I'm a unit test lover, so this is an example of what happens every time in every project. There are a lot of pros, they'll improve the quality of your code, it's not too long to develop a unit test, but I don't want to do it, so I will not write unit test. So everyone hates unit test, but they are essential in a green-oriented project. So why unit tests are so important then? There are a bunch of motivation. First of all, doing unit tests create a better code for you, because if you write your code, develop your code, you write your unit test, you can find corner and edge cases on your code. You can avoid also code duplication. And for me, the most important things, it's the bug prevention. So, for example, you develop your code, you don't write unit test, deploy it to the tester, testers find a bug, it open a card on Jira. You open the card on Jira, you get your app, you fix the bug, deploy it again to your tester, the test again, and then you can move it to the stores. If you do some unit test, you prevent this bug, you deploy the app to the tester tests, no bug finds, directly to the stores. So, as you can see, there are a lot of energy saving and a lot of store saving, store size saving. One only deploy on test, no card created on Jira, and it's crucial in a big project. So, these are the pros. They reduce the bug rate and maintenance cost, as you can see, by 20–40% for me, and it increased the development speed over time by 15–25%. So if there are some change requests on your app, you can check it with unit test and think about not edit or edit and check it again on your unit test. You can also avoiding build your app on your simulator. I understand that on little projects, unit tests sometimes are only a waste of time, so it reduces the development speed in the short term by 20–30%, but in a medium or big project thinking, for me, are essential. So, we talk about the clean code, and then there is the clean code. This is a typical situation of every developer. On Friday, I wrote my code, everything great, everything perfect. Okay, next section, I start it on Monday, and on Monday, I take my code, and I can't understand anything. So I didn't write a good code. Everything works, but it's not good. Why it's not good? Because we have to check it again, understand it again, and someone else has to check it again. It's a waste of time, a waste of energy. Another problem of clean code, of not clean code, it's that you can create bugs and code duplication. That is a problem in your app size, as we can see later. And another thing, it's the handover. I'm a consultant, so in a consultant way of thinking, sometimes I change my project every 2–3 months. So if my knowledge transfer is so long, it's a problem because I have to spend a lot of time. The other colleague has to understand what I wrote. So if I wrote a good code, it's better and faster for everyone. Let's start with the last point, about development. ChatGPT and AI. Everyone at the moment uses ChatGPT and AI for develop. I understand it, me too. But it's a typical situation of ChatGPT and AI using for coding. You are faster on developing, but you are not fast as you develop to debug it. So you have to understand the code. So I think about if you ask something to every API, every AI, it's not green. So how can I ask something to an AI to be green? So I ask it to ChatGPT. And he answered to me like that. Be specific, first of all. If you need a red container with border radius 4 and elevation 1, ask to a ChatGPT for that. Not start with, I need a red container, and after that, I need a red container with border radius 4, and after that, I need a red container with elevation 1 and border radius 4. This is a problem. You ask 3 times the same question that you can ask at the first time. Another suggestion from ChatGPT is ask for practical solutions. Yeah, because you don't have to copy and paste everything ChatGPT show to you. You have to understand it to be faster during debugging or finding some bugs and fix them. So, have you ever seen this git command? Someone is confused? Me neither. It was only a trick to drink some water. But we can link to the git step. I start with branches. Branches and git in general is crucial than development, like the development. So, a good branch strategy is the best point of start of a project. I know that here there's someone that works alone in a project and commit and push only on develop. I'm sure about that. So you don't have to do it. Also if you are alone in the project. You have to create branches for every feature you develop, but branches has to be opened for 1, max 2 days. Another thing is that branches has to be rebased to develop, or main or master. This is because you create a more maintainable and readable Git history, first of all, and also because older Git commit disappear. But it's crucial that you remember to delete branches that are merged, unless you find useless branches on your Git repository that are size useless on your repository. So more cost, more server load. As the branches, we have to work like that with commit, but we have to create smaller frequent commits and not one commit, one push, but not like the one in this picture. Don't create a lot of commit and only one push. Creating smaller frequent commits, it's better for you because commit and push will be faster, and also for a better and readable and maintainable Git history. But someone is thinking, yeah, but you talk about create branch, rebase it to delete Git commits. So how this is good? This is good because when you rebase it, they disappear. But while you are working on your branch, every colleague that works with you can read what you are doing. So we can pass to the pipeline. After commit, push, merge, we can run pipelines. So manage pipeline as development. What's the meaning of this? This means that you have to run jobs asynchronous as you can. So if your job can run asynchronous, do it. First of all, because it's faster for you and for the pipeline, and also because it avoids to fill your external machine. Another important things on a pipeline is to run them, if it's possible, of course, during night or when the machines are free. After running pipelines, we deploy. First of all, we have to check before deploying. So, for example, if you wrote your unit test and your unit tests are red, don't deploy it. Don't deploy for every push or for every commit on develop. Deploy only for specific tags, specific commit, or something like that. Avoid deploying every day if you develop a feature every 2 days. If you deploy every day an app to tester, Firebase, app centers, or stores, you deploy app with only little bug fixing or something like that. But it's better if you deploy every time you have something big. We are near to the end. We have deployed our app to testers. Tester test, everything good. So we have to move our apps to the stores. This is the biggest problem of our stores. The app store size of our apps. Yes, because stores are full of unmaintained app, bugged app. So we have to think about our environment, and we have to think about the app size. There are two motivations of that. First of all, the green motivation. The servers are more free if you deploy a smaller app. So you have to, for example, use SVG instead PNG for images, or avoiding building or deploying something that it's useless. For example, if you develop your unit test, I said to you that I'm a unit test lover. If you develop your unit test, put them inside your test folder, not in the lib folder. Avoid deploying everything that it's useless, because it creates a bigger size. And also for your user, as you can see here in the pros, if an app is smaller, it improves download and installation time by 10–20% for me, so your users are happier. And it reduces also data usage from the store by 20–40%. This is crucial for me. So, we have arrived at the end. For me, everything in a green-oriented project should be good and should be bad, like in the life. So everything should be bad if it's not moderated. So it's 6 p.m. Let's go drink a moderation, guys. Thank you.